Awesome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Reuter, and tonight we are sitting down with a very special guest, Dr. Lisa Killinger. Did I say that correctly?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right, so Dr. Lisa is an instructor and a professor at Palmer, Iowa. She teaches Logan Basic, and I'll let her kind of share a little bit more of herself and her story of chiropractic when we get back from thanking our sponsors. But this is the 6th season and episode 11 tonight that we are sitting down and doing out of 12. So you are second from the last, and I think that is a great thing because the most people watch this, the most people listen to this, and people are excited. I got some really good feedback about you coming on the show tonight. I've gotten so many messages to get you on the show tonight. So I am very grateful to be sitting down next to you virtually, of course, and having this conversation about Logan Basic, the power of the technique, and also the power and the influence that it has within the profession and with special populations that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But when we come back from thanking these initial sponsors, we're going to dive deep with Dr. Lisa. She's going to share her story. And without further ado, we will be right back, everyone. To Inspire Women is the elite boutique coaching company for chiropractors who are looking to live life and run business in a way that is personal, unique, and authentic. They focus on business systems and money mindset mastery so you can pay down debt, be more profitable, and serve more people. Their goal is to empower you to achieve success by your own rules and your own definition. Head to toinspirewomen.com now because they know there's a better way. Chiro HD, superior cloud-based practice management software. Chiro HD is a user-friendly, all-in-one EHR solution built with one mission: to help you run your practice like a boss. Learn more at chirohd.com. Total Clinic Solutions is your go-to source for purchasing both brand new and refurbished chiropractic equipment, as well as phone support for repairs and maintenance. Call Derek and allow him to combine your wishes and his 23 years of chiropractic equipment expertise to find what's best for you and your patients at 704-622-4089 or head to totalclinicsolutions.com now. It's time that chiropractors look beyond spinal alignments and measure the nerve connections that keep our patients feeling strong and performing at their peak. CLA designed the Insight scanning technologies to transform exams and generate powerful reports that give practitioners the certainty they have been searching for. Learn how CLA has partnered with practices around the world by going to insightcla.com. Spinal hygiene products are designed to educate your patients on the importance of lifetime spinal care. To learn more about how spinal hygiene products work and to download the patient education material for free, visit spinalhygiene.co. Again, that's spinalhygiene.co. Easily share your passion for chiropractic and look good doing it with Above Down Apparel, offering a premium lineup of principled apparel that's impossibly soft, sustainably sourced, and chiropractic AF. Visit abovedown.co and follow them on Instagram to learn more and score yourself some sweet chiro swag. Sked is the all-in-one system that allows for amazing control and flexibility of your scheduling. Yes, your next new hire. Every aspect of when and where you service your customers is at your command. Sked is tightly integrated with your existing EHR system. This software was made by a chiropractor specifically for chiropractic. No joke. Go check out their latest care plan feature by heading to go.sked.life/legendarypod. Dr. David Toohill is an innovative product and marketing strategist, bridging the gap between your vision and strategic plan. He will help you design specific products and processes that are both scalable and set up to produce long-term revenue and growth. He has previously worked with influencers that include Dr. Josh Axe, Jordan Rubin of Ancient Nutrition, Olympic gold medalist Shawn Johnson, and many, many others. Schedule your call with Dr. Dave today by heading to meetwithdrdave.com. Training the best adjusters on the planet. Syntropy has reverse engineered what the masters do naturally. From the energetics to the mechanics, they've hacked the code to shorten your learning curve on the road to masterful adjusting. To find a seminar near you, head to centropychirotraining.com. Thank you for allowing this brief disruption to take place. And now back to the program. Sweet. Fantastic. Hello, everybody. Thank you for hopping on. Thank you for joining us. Welcome again to the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Johnny Reuter, and tonight we are sitting down with the one and the only Dr. Lisa Killinger, who is going to break down every barrier that you might have in your mind about Logan Basic, about adjusting special pops, and just about everyday life as a chiropractor and her amazing journey to get here. So without further ado, Doc, I want to share the virtual floor and turn it over to you to share a little bit about your background, how you got into chiropractic, and all the way up until where you are now. All right?
Absolutely. I'll do my best. What a long, strange trip it's been. I knew nothing of chiropractic, and I grew up 5 miles away from Palmer College of Chiropractic, the fountainhead of chiropractic. So I was working as a 16-year-old as a lifeguard, and somebody there, one of my fellow lifeguards, said, "Hey, you should get adjusted. Let me adjust you." And I had no idea what that meant, and got my first chiropractic adjustment within a week, and that was it. It changed my career plans. I was planning to do something else for my life, but said, I have to do this thing, because it helped me immensely and immediately with some health issues that I had at the time. So here I am. I graduated from Palmer in 1983. Then I graduated, had a baby immediately afterwards, within 2 weeks of graduating. Then within a month, I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with my husband and new baby, and actually was going to visit my in-laws, but ended up caring for a lot of women and children in Pakistan. So that was quite an adventure I did not see coming. Lived in a village for 5 months, no electricity, no running water, and got to see some things, pretty amazing things.
Yeah.
Then flew back over to the United States, got to practice in California for a number of years, about 7 years, before moving back to my home area, which is Davenport, Iowa again. And that's where I started my career as an academician and researcher.
Wow. Absolutely amazing. And you are still there and still teaching fellow students and colleagues of ours how to adjust, how to run the basics of Logan Basic, right? And so I want to start from the very beginning of your journey in regards to discovering Logan Basic before we get into the nitty-gritty about the technique and how other chiros can go ahead and start using it. So why don't you run us that course and we'll go from there.
Logan Basic wasn't my first technique. In fact, Palmer had real significant restrictions on what techniques you could do in their clinics. It was, one part of its history was just hole-in-one, the Atlas only. But in my time of chiropractic in graduation, you couldn't adjust extremities, you couldn't do anything without hands-on, so no instrument-assisted adjusting, no other techniques. Logan wasn't even on the radar, and so I just learned diversified, went out in the field, but I was drawn to the lower force techniques and learned about instrument-assisted and other techniques. And later in my career, learned from a person who did Logan Basic, and actually when I came back to Palmer, was trained to teach Logan Basic here at the college. So it has been a later addition to my chiropractic tool belt, and I'm so glad to know about Logan Basic because it has helped so many people.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you discovered Logan Basic and you got adjusted by it, and then you had to start teaching it, you had to learn it in depth, right? So what lit that spark to say, yes, I'll take the teaching position, but also willing to take on all of those different, things that come with taking on a teaching position, of learning the curriculum, learning the technique in a way that you're not only teaching others, but you are almost considered an expert in it, right? So what does that look like for you?
Well, it looked like, as somebody described to me about Logan technique, I realized that that's what my first adjustment was. And surely it was clandestine. I mean, nobody was supposed to be doing Logan. I don't even think it was a recognized thing at Palmer clinics at that time. But the individual knew some techniques like that, and adjusted me. And I had really bad problems with my monthly cycles. I used to have to take a couple of days off of school every month because I really had severe pain and disability. And the person that was going to adjust me said, do you ever have problems with your period? And I was so embarrassed because I was a 16-year-old girl, and here's this cute guy, and I was like, ah! And he's talking about my periods, and I couldn't have been more humiliated. But I said, well, yeah, I actually am having that problem right now. And he adjusted me, and I've never since then had problems with my period. I'm 60 now, so that ship sailed a long time ago. But holy smokes, it changed my life. So it changed my care plan in my life. And when they would describe my technique, that's exactly what was done to me. So then I thought, well, gosh, I need to learn this tool. So it was something that I think the star, and I don't think anything's an accident, but when this person said, would you be interested in apprenticing with me and then learning this technique with the eventuality of teaching it down the line, I was like, sign me up for that. Thought it would be great.
Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. What a phenomenal story and a cool way to discover a technique. And I think that's how a lot of us come into chiropractic specifically is, a lot of chiropractic miracle patients in the sense of like, for me, it was my allergies and ADD, ADHD, all this different stuff. And all of a sudden, I was adjusted for a couple months under corrective care of diversified full spine. And my life has never been the same, right? And so it's like, it just is mind-blowing when that happens to you and you have that revelation, no matter if that's before you start chiropractic, during, after. I mean, it doesn't matter. I think that's what a lot of times draws us or calls us into this profession, is something that unique and that powerful. So let's get into it now in regards to Logan Basic. Who's it for? And why should we be practicing it?
Right. Well, Logan is one of our foundational techniques in our profession. It was developed in 1919. It preceded B.J. Palmer's whole and upper cervical work. It preceded all of the other postural-based techniques, the techniques that looked at sort of a universal approach of the whole spine. So it's important in that regard. And about 70 to 20% of chiropractors use it today. And Logan was the first technique that said this vertebra, this one vertebra, is really, really instrumental in health, really foundational to the health of the spine. And literally and figuratively, the sacrum, in this case for Logan, is the base of the spine and is the basis for good foundational health of the spine. So that was something new to our profession. And Hugh Logan, poor guy, he had low back pain, really bad, disabling back pain. And at that time, chiropractic was you live prone and people palpate you or they do whatever and they adjust your spine. And whenever he was evaluated laying down or they took x-rays laying down, that was different because his problem wasn't when he laid down, it was when he stood up. So when he stood up, his subluxation was different. His L5 wanted to get palpated when he was laying down. We're adjusting in his PLM and his L5, but when he stood up, and he advocated, was the first advocate of a standing X-ray and a full stand X-ray. So that's where that came from in our profession. So when he stood up, his sacral base was low on one side, and that caused his L5 to rotate downhill with the body of the lumbar vertebra rotating downhill, and that influenced everything that happened up above in his spine. So once he got adjusted and addressed the sacrum, he finally achieved good chiropractic health. And that's the beginning, the birth of this technique. And you are out there, the ones who have had an issue with your spine, wherever it is, that you get some relief temporarily with chiropractic, but they really haven't gotten to the root of what's happening. Well, look to the spine, right, for the cause of disease, and look to the base of the spine, the sacrum, for the cause of disease. And Logan is a very, very, very low force technique. Perhaps one of the lowest force techniques. Yeah. It uses the amount of pressure you could put on your eyeball comfortably, right? So that's ounces of pressure, up to some people that are very heavy-handed, a pound or two of pressure, but it should never be a heavy-handed technique. So if thinking about that, you could think about this could be something that you could do with a newborn baby. and certainly not cause any problems or pain or discomfort or unease for the parents. Think about the frailest older adults. My mom lives with me. She's 91, extremely osteoporotic and has dementia. I'm not going to go putting her on her side and crunching her. It's just not going to be prudent. She's had 7 compression fractures, so she needs a lower force technique. So that's a great example of another place where Logan could work. How about in the pregnant patient? Pregnancy, with all those hormones circulating, makes a patient unstable, having a lot of instability. And that part of the Kirkcaldy-Willis model of spinal degeneration says when somebody's got instability, you should not take them to the end of their range of motion and beyond, because it destabilizes them further. So many of our traditional techniques would be contraindicated in a pregnant woman or a child that's super flexible. So that's another place where Logan might fit for the pregnant women, or even a patient that's in a wheelchair. If you can lay them down or lay them on their side, prone or on their side, you can adjust them with Logan Basic technique. It's a technique that's easy on the body. It doesn't require any special tools. You just need your hands and any surface basically to lay them on. It can be soft, hard. It doesn't require a special table. So it's usable pretty much anywhere. So for in the village in the Himalayas, that would have been great to know about then, but I didn't have it that tool then. Yeah, because I was adjusting people on little jute cots, so that we didn't have any chiropractic tables there. But yeah, it can be done anywhere. So it's really an easy technique in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do is cut out to this second ad break. Thanks to more of our sponsors. If you haven't already, get a chance to head to our website, go to thelegendarychiropractor.com/sponsors, or you can scroll all the way down and check out all of the links down there, because our sponsors give away amazing free things for all of our listeners out there. So when we get back from thanking these couple sponsors here, we are going to dive deeper and deeper into Logan Basic and adjusting special pops and what that means for you, the chiropractor or the chiropractic student. We will be right back. Every chiropractic clinic needs a compliance program. If you are not sure what that includes or why you need one, let Dr. Robin from RHDC Consulting help you build your chiropractic compliance. If you are ready to get started, head to robin-hale.mykajabi.com and let Dr. Robin guide you to the end result. Dr. Christy Wick is revamping the landscape of women's chiropractic coaching. With a focus on connection and congruence, she's on a mission to empower Lady DCs across the nation to create bold, successful lives and practices their way. Get started today by visiting theilluminatedsquad.com. Thank you for allowing this brief disruption to take place. And now back to the program. Great. Welcome back, everybody, to the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. Dr. Lisa and I are on a roll already here. So I want to kind of recap what we went and talked about before the break. Logan Basic developed in 1919 before a lot of BJ's upper cervical stuff and upper cervical work, which is amazing to think about when in regards to how people and different people look at the spine, right? So some people are top to bottom, some people are bottom to top, and it's just very fascinating on how that all went down. And then, which one kind of, not necessarily stuck, but which one was promoted more clearly, right, by BJ. And it was just an interesting kind of situation there. And I believe I caught this right. Was the statistic only about 20% of docs, chiropractors right now use Logan Basic? Is that the stat?
Right.
Yeah. So
yep.
What my goal is with, bringing different people on and different expertises and categories who have wisdom and value to deliver to the world of chiropractic for students and recent docs. I mean, the goal of this is to bring awareness to Logan Basic again, because it is a phenomenal technique that is in my opinion, personally, is undervalued. And so if we're able to sit down here and chat with Dr. Lisa, who is an expert in Logan Basic, who teaches it, who lives this and breathes this every single day of her life, it's like, that is a complete honor. So I hope that you take this and you want to research more about Logan Basic. You want to practice it. You want to do it in congruence with your practice model that you have right now, because we're going to run through the list of people that you can treat and take care of with Logan Basic and how beneficial it can be for these folks. And the list is extensive. And so we're going to run through those now and just kind of cover them piece by piece and let you hear a little bit of insight from Dr. Lisa on how she would handle, some of these patients, how the pressure is, what the patient looks like, are they prone, are they supine, what's the contact point, all of that stuff. So, Doc, let's start with the youngest and let's go to the oldest. All right. So let's start with the infants, the babies, the kiddos, the newborns. Let's start with that. How do we handle a newborn just generically with Logan Basic? Run us through that.
Well, it's so nice because parents have a great innate desire to protect their children. So a lot of what we do as chiropractors looks real scary if you're a parent. But a Logan Basic adjustment does not look scary at all. It literally would be taking that little baby's spine, right? So I have the baby. This is a very large spine. if I had a baby that I was holding on my shoulders, I wish I had a doll. I'd bring it here. But just to hold contact on the sacrotuberous ligament, and I can hold it just with my pinky, right? So my pinky is not going to make parents afraid. I can hold on to that sacrotuberous ligament, and that brings the sacrum around and just unlocks it. And it's just what I want to say is that when you try to move a big piece of furniture, or like an appliance like a refrigerator, it's large and it's chunky and it's heavy, just like our big sacrum that's heavy, it's hard to move. If you just throw a strap around it, you can just walk away with it with one hand, pull that strap. That strap is the sacrotuberous ligament, right? Sacrotuberous ligament are the two straps, the two supports for the spine. And if you have the sacral apex moved away from this, then you can just hold pressure on this, and it actually just brings that sacrum around level. It's super easy to do, and it's just like using that mover strap. You don't have to have as much force, but you can get the same amount of movement, so you can move literally anything there with just the pinky touch. That would be easy to do, and you can evaluate the baby in a number of ways that I think is probably more complex than we could get into on this call, but you'll never see a pediatric seminar that doesn't teach a basic Logan maneuver for balancing the pelvis of a baby, because I've seen infants that come in and they're all contorted and they've got postural things going on, and you think, how did this happen to you? Or toddlers that are walking with a shoulder back and they're all posturally distorted, and you hold that Logan contact on them for 30 seconds and they are balanced and level. Their shoulders sit level, their scapula sits level, their pelvis sits level. It's fantastic. Yeah. So it's incredibly powerful tool for children and not scary at all.
Right. I think that's the biggest thing, like you were saying, where we have a protective instinct as parents, and we want to, make sure everything's okay. And like you said, most diversified moves are a little daunting at first, right? It's like unless you know the maneuver, you're familiar with chiropractic, or you kind of understand it from the sense of like what it's trying to achieve, it can be scary. And that's totally reasonable to understand. Now, what I want to also mention here is let's go in the middle. Let's go the moms, the dads, and even the pregnant mamas as well. So let's lump them all together, and let's talk about that.
In those middle years, it's likely that in those middle years, that's when people maybe get in a car accident, or they'll have a fall, they'll have something happen in a sport, they're weekend warriors, whatever it is that they do, but they may be acutely injured. And I mean, how many of you have had an injury where you thought, oh gosh, if they adjust me, this is going to hurt real bad? The contraindication to any adjustment is the inability to get in that position that's required to do the adjustment, right? So we shouldn't force our patients into positions that are going to hurt them, and then they're going to tighten up, and then we're going to hurt them more, and then they have to hurt for 2 days to get better. That's not necessary, right? So we have a spectrum in chiropractic of least invasive to most invasive. Why don't you try a less invasive approach first and do something that will help them, right? So we can start with holding the Logan basic contact, and then everything else actually we adjust while we're with our other end. We adjust any area of the spine while we're holding that contact, and it has relaxed the spine so much you can do adjustments up higher in the spine with minimal force, just with the patient in a prone anatomical position or side lying, either one. So if a patient can't go on their chest because they've had maybe an open heart surgery or they have an ostomy bag or anything, then we can still do Logan because it doesn't require you to thrust deeply. You can still do that side lying, and you can hold their sacrotuberous ligament contact and work on their spine very gently. So that's what's nice about those middle years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the very acute injured patient.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about that one at the end because I think that's a big one that a lot of people don't consider. And in regards to Logan Basic in general, I would say, it should be at the forefront of every single chiropractor's mind when something along the lines of, hey, they look at themselves in the mirror and they say, hey, this technique isn't working, right? Or something like that, right? Have you tried every ditch effort? And my question to those chiros out there who say yes, have you tried Logan Basic, right? Have you done this very least invasive technique that gets massive results? And I really, truly believe in it, and I love it, and I think I know that it works. I've had it done on me. I've done it on children. I mean, it's so powerful in the sense of what we're talking about and what we're discussing tonight. Now we're through the infancy, we're through the pregnant mom, and and the father figure and all that stuff in the middle years, as you called them. Now let's talk about two specific cases that I want to bring up. One is the wheelchair-ridden person that you mentioned before we went on break, and the other one is the acute patient. So you can lump kind of those into each other, or you can separate them out, but cover them both for us here.
Sure, right. Well, if you've ever had a patient that's been in a wheelchair for a long time, you'll know that their bones remodel so that their position that they sit in the wheelchair is the position they're going to lay in on the table. So if you're going to adjust a patient and they have a 90-degree bend in their body, you're going to have to lay them using the raising up the pelvic piece very high and raising up the other piece so that they can sort of lie on that apex of that table, and then you can take the Logan contact in them. So you'll have to just be positioning the table to match the shape of their body and lay them down like this. But that allows the pelvis to be elevated and allows you to take the Logan contact with a wheelchair-bound patient or an older patient. They're very stiff, so you can take a thumb contact and hold, your pressure, but still it's super light, and then you can work with the areas of the spine, and that's an easy thing. And I have seen people that really suffered a lot with back pain or mid-thoracic pain or cervical pain, that once they took the Logan contact, everything sort of unwound and a lot of postural things just really relaxed. So that's a great tool for that. And then the acute patient. Again, if a patient's hurting real lot, you don't want to, sometimes, people will say, well, if they're really acute, I'm just going to use drop pieces. I'm not going to twist them, or I'll just use the drops. Well, the drops are very jarring. Have you ever had a drop table and you think, oh, yeah, everything tightens up, right? No, maybe just try holding on a little pressure, right, while they're laying there chilling out. It's very easy and less likely to cause them to spasm up or lock up, because it's not that sort of thrusting and dropping away type of technique. So that's nice. And by the way, not everybody has to learn Logan, right? But to have the humility to say, what I have done isn't helping this patient, and I need to connect with someone else who has this tool, and then make sure that my patient understands I have their best interest at hand. And we should collaborate more than we do, I think, as a profession. We lose people out of the chiropractic system out of arrogance and pride, right?
We don't have egos in chiropractic, really.
My magic hands couldn't help you, so therefore you just need to do something else. Well, there's a lot of chiropractic techniques, so I think we should actually think more about trying a different approach. Maybe an upper cervical technique will work if Logan didn't. We don't know. Start at the top, start at the bottom, go in between. I don't care, but do something. Right? Chiropractic, it'll help.
Absolutely. I love that you said that, because I do think that is a systemic problem within our profession, is that we don't refer to other chiropractors, and it drives me absolutely bonkers. But at the same time, it's like we need to learn how to step out of our ways and stop being the subluxations within our own profession. And really, because what happens is when a patient leaves your office and gets out of the chiropractic system, we've actually done them a significant disservice. If we truly believe everything we believe, and we say what we do, and we walk the talk, and we do all of these things, it's, in my opinion, it is an incredible disservice to that patient to not be under any sort of chiropractic care just because it's not yours, right? So I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm very glad you mentioned that. Now we're going to take another short, quick break. When we come back from thanking these sponsors, we are going to close out the show. I want Dr. Lisa to leave us with her best remarks in regards to the chiropractic student, the recent graduate, what we can do to further learn Logan Basic, and then we'll wrap the show up. So we'll be right back, everyone. Dr. Stu Hoffman, founder and president of ChiroSecure Malpractice Insurance, is the foremost expert in both risk management and risk avoidance. Understanding the everyday challenges of today's practicing chiropractor and the current public perception of chiropractic has made ChiroSecure the fastest growing malpractice insurance program of the last 28 years. Find out more at chirosecure.com. Imaging Services' primary business is chiropractic solutions. With over 45 years in the industry of helping chiropractors, Michael Tokash offers free consultations on building your business. In the past year, Imaging Services has installed over 100 X-ray machines and digital X-ray systems in over 42 states across the United States. For more, head to theimagingservices.com. Thank you for allowing this brief disruption to take place. And now back to the program. Fantastic. Welcome back, everybody. So we are in closing with Dr. Lisa Killinger, and she has been absolutely amazing. If you're just joining us and just tuning in, please, please, please go all the way back. And that's not for the views, it's for you, the student, the doc who wants to learn more about chiropractic. We are trying our hardest here at the Legendary Chiropractor to put the best content, the best material together for you. And Dr. Lisa is the icing on the cake here, and this is absolutely amazing. We've talked all about Logan Basic, adjusting special pops with it. And the special pops are a little bit different than what you would think we would talk about in regards to special pops, but absolutely dynamite information, and I'm really, really grateful that you've been on the show, Doc. I want to leave you with any last remarks, any other recommendations, requests that you have for students and docs to do, because I think that's important to leave the show and close the show out.
Well, our tools of chiropractic are our techniques, and there's such a wide range of techniques. I know that there's about 253 by some people's estimates named techniques in chiropractic, and I want to learn just a little bit about those techniques so I can speak from a place of knowledge rather than speculation. And I've learned a lot through this book, and I don't have any money to make off of this. I'm not promoting it for any personal gain, but technique systems in chiropractic. And each chapter, and there's one on Logan, which if you want to read more about the history of Logan, the development of it, the way that it works, and what Logan himself said about it, there's a chapter about virtually every technique. It's Churchill Livingstone, I think it's Cooperstein and Gleberson are the editors of this. And I don't think they made any friends by making this, because they were real straight, just the evidence summary, the technique, how it goes, what its theories are. And I think it's fascinating to me, because I learned so much about different techniques that I knew nothing about. But I just want to be humble. We have all of these chiropractic techniques work. They don't work for everybody, but every chiropractic technique works for some people some of the time, and none of our techniques work for all of the people all the time. It takes some humility to live in a healing art where the approach is different, and it takes the humility to know that if whatever tool we offer is not the only tool, right? So yep. Some people will be comfortable with a very low force intervention, and I have as my philosophy the same philosophy that is chiropractic. We should try least invasive to most invasive, and in our profession we should try the least invasive techniques up to the most invasive techniques and go from there. So that's my thought to leave with new chiropractor students and those who've been in the field for a long time. Maybe you're wearing down and you're thinking, my old arms and hands can't do this. Don't give up chiropractic. Find a technique you can do that still is kind to your body, and Logan would be one of those. Other instrument assisted techniques or others. Don't leave the profession.
Yeah.
Help your patients with some tool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that was a dynamite episode, and I'm so grateful, like I said earlier, to have you on the show, to be able to give you the platform to share your wisdom on Logan Basic. I hope this, sparks a flame under some people's butts to get out there, get learning. Grab that book. I'm sure it's available on Amazon. You can go to probably any chiropractic school's library website and probably purchase it for yourself, or if you're a student, go to the library when you get back to campus and actually rent it out, because that's important that you understand. And I like how Dr. Lisa said that. I want to know a little bit about all the techniques so I'm able to communicate what I want for my patients and what I need, and who to know in those different categories of techniques, because like she said, not every technique works for everybody. And I think that's really important to understand. And it's really also important to understand, I think the last key takeaway here is that we need to understand that our egos need to be put aside in regards to keeping people and patients under chiropractic care, no matter if that looks like your technique or somebody down the roads. I think that was a huge lesson that we needed to take away today. So with that being said, Doc, I really, really appreciate you. I'm extremely humbled and honored that you are sitting virtually on this show with me, and I know my audience enjoyed it as well. So without further ado, everybody, I'm going to close the show out. I want you to click the link above, thelegendarychiropractor.com/go. thelegendarychiropractor.com/go. Become a free member today, students and docs. It's completely free, and you can get all of our past archived podcast episodes, Facebook Lives, blogs. I mean, you name it, the content is there. And I always like to say that if you were to start at the very beginning of our podcast and up until this point, you would be a freaking darn good chiropractor. That's all I got to say. So, Doc, I appreciate you, and I thank you.
My pleasure. You guys take care.
Bye, everyone.
We'll see you. Bye-bye.